Okay, so I'm going to do another one of these versus videos. I like doing these. I think they're pretty interesting. But we're going to do Maniac. Now we're going to be talking about Maniac that came out in, I believe this was 2012, and Maniac that came out in 1980. I think it was 1980. Let me make sure. Yes. By the way, I actually had this on DVD. This is the, I believe this is the French version. I had it on DVD, and it was sitting in my movie pile for like the longest time. And when I went to open it, there was no disc in there because I think somebody took it out. And if that's the case, you can, whoever did that, you can definitely go fuck yourself. Maniac. Now, these are two completely different films. But they are connected in the sense of the name and the story. You know, they both center around this killer, you know, that's obsessed with mannequins, and he scalps his victims. You know, and there's also a really cool shot in this one that looks just like the poster of this. It's really, really cool. But I'm going to tell you guys which one is my favorite. Now, let's talk about the first one, Maniac, the classic. So the first Maniac film, I actually have a really good memory of this whenever I was little, because I remember the shotgun scene where the killer jumps up on the car and shoots Tom Savini. That is so gnarly. That was one of the gnarliest kills ever. And it's just, this film is so brutal and it's so dirty and grimy. And Joe Spinell, who was in Rocky and The Godfather, believe it or not, or it's Spinell, I'm pretty sure it's Spinell, Joe Spinell, whatever. But Frank Zito, the killer. He is terrific in this. He does a really good job. You know, for a lot of these video nasties, a lot of the acting is corny at times. You know, like you really don't, it's like, you know, that doesn't sound real. But it did in this. I feel like the killer in this was so good. I can't really say the same about the supporting, but seriously, this is a classic. Maniac. I don't have the 4K, I have the Blu-ray. Honestly, I don't really care if when it comes to Blu-ray or 4K, you know, like, I mean, I get whatever one I get. But I know that there is a really good 4K from Blue Underground that I've heard a lot of good things about. I've heard some pretty good things about the transfer on that one and Zombie. So if you guys do want to check this out, I'd probably opt for the 4K because, you know, like I said, I've heard some good things. Now we're talking about Maniac. Now this one is completely different, where I think the first one is set in New York and this one is set in LA. This film has Elijah Wood in it. Believe it or not, it's cool. I know, I think that's really cool. I guess Lord of the Rings wasn't graphic enough for him, you know? But yeah, this film, the POV shots are so good in this, because this is told from a point of view, which was a very interesting, it's a very interesting direction, because at times this film does drag, but it does a lot of things better than the original. Like, it does a lot of things better. It does character development better, in my opinion. It let us get into the mind of the killer, and, you know, the kills were kind of ugh in this, but they did change some of the story elements of it to where it added more backstory, and I could appreciate that. Even though sometimes it was a little bit corny and I wasn't really following it, I still appreciated what was going on with it. And I like it whenever films do reboot like this, because I'm not really a big fan of films that, you know, have sequels. I mean, unless it's like warranted, you know, like I'm not against sequels, but I hate it whenever like The Hitcher is a perfect example, where you have The Hitcher come out and then, you know, The Hitcher 2 like 10 years later or whatever, and it's like nothing, has nothing to do with the original one, or it does, but they just don't know what to do with it. I hate that. I don't like that. I'm cool with reboots, but unnecessary sequels, I don't like. Reboots like this, I'm a big fan of, because it doesn't tank the original. If anything, it just adds more to the original, you know? So this adds a lot of backstory. So I feel like now when I watch this one again, you know, it's like, oh, okay, well, sweet. You know, it's like a nice companion piece, and I sort of have an idea of what's going on through this dude's head. Now, what is the best Maniac out of both of these? Which one would I recommend? Which one wins the pay-per-view bout? It's a good question. I'm going to have to go with the original Maniac. And the reason being is the kills. For some reason in Maniac 2012, the kills are just CGI. They look kind of rough. You know, like I don't know really what they were thinking with that. I wish they would have used more practical effects because I could tell that there was CGI in that. And if that wasn't CGI, then that was just really bad practical effects in my opinion. But I just love the charm that the original Maniac has. Well, that's kind of, I wouldn't say charm, but you know what I mean. I sort of just, I like the atmosphere and I like what it was and what they did and, you know, sort of the cult following that the film has. And I would definitely recommend checking out this Maniac. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, leave a thumbs up and maybe subscribe. Let me know what your favorite Maniac film is down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.